What's up, guys? Today we're going to be taking a look at the Engwe Engine Pro e-bike. This smaller, fully foldable e-bike features front and rear suspension, mag wheels, and it even has regen, which is a feature not usually seen on these budget geared hub motor e-bikes. Let's take a look at the features of this bike, and then we're going to take it out on a test ride.
Ooh, this is bad. Oh.
Let's jump right in.
As far as features go for this bike, we've got some locking, nice feeling leather grips. Thumb throttle right here. Horn button down over here. Sounds kind of like a beep. I think it's coming from that front headlight. Here we got the controls, brakes. This is my gub mount that I put on, obviously display, and then trigger shifter right over there.
Here are the hydraulic rear brakes with the 160mm rotors. Front brakes the same, 160mm rotors. I love how these wheels look. Mag wheels look great. In my opinion, I think they're fantastic. 4-inch by 20-inch knobby tires made by Chaoyang, pretty standard. Front headlight with the reflector. Got the nice looking Engwe logo. I do like how this bike is styled, the black color with the darker black accents. Looks kind of nice. Metal fenders. You can adjust the lockout of the suspension and your preload adjustment right there as well. Here's how you fold down the handlebar for storage. And here's the center lock mechanism as well. And inside this tube, you'll find the battery, rear suspension right in there. And to use this bike, to turn it on, you do have to keep this key in here. Pretty decently sized front freewheel. And here's the Shimano Altus derailleur with the 8-speed freewheel. And this bike also does come with a nice, decently sized rear rack where you can store a bunch of stuff.
I found this e-bike to be on the lighter side and easy to pick up. Definitely add some type of a lubricant into the center folding hinge. This bike features fold down handlebars and foldable foot pedals. I found this bike to be easy to fold and unfold, which is great if you want to put it in a corner of your home, maybe in a closet, or if you want to throw it into your car. The standover height of this bike is 27 inches, and just for reference, here's what I look like at 5'10" on this bike.
So those are the features of the Engwe Engine Pro. Let's go ahead and take this thing out on the road and see what it can do.
It is a chilly day out here in New England. Just about 40 degrees, somewhere on there. And today we are on the Engwe Engine Pro. And this is a very special Engwe e-bike. I've had an Engwe bike before. I really like their products. I think they're one of the bigger companies that come out of China, although most of these bikes come out of China anyways, pretty much 95% of them. But this bike has something really special about it that very, very few e-bikes have. And I'll tell you what that is in a little bit. But we're going to start off with our main hill climb. We are at a full 100% charge with our battery. We've got our mileage gauge on the display set to 0. And I already went apparently 0.2 miles from my house. So without further ado, we're going to throttle only up this hill and see where we are. 3, 2, 1, go. Pretty slow start, slow, gentle start. Looks like we can see our power. We're peaking at 1400 watts. Wow, okay. 1450, not bad. We're going up this hill 15 miles an hour, so the speedometer is just a smidge faster than the GPS speed. Looks like by 1 mile an hour. We'll take a look later on and see if there's a way to change that in the settings. All right, finishing the hill climb at about 18 miles an hour. And now we're going to head over to the steep hill climb test. And on our way, we're going to see what the downhill speed is. What's nice about this bike is that the free spinning wheel goes all the way up to 35 miles an hour. So we should get some good speed going down this hill. Yeah, see, I'm still getting power at 30 miles an hour, 33. So you will never go faster than 35, but at least it does help you a little bit downhill. That's pretty cool. Oh, the speedometer looks like it's way off. I stand corrected. We're closer to about 30 miles an hour because my GPS speed is showing something very different, of course. And the brakes are a little bit loud right now. I haven't even bedded them in yet. I'm sure they'll get quieter as the ride progresses. Let's see what this bike feels like pedaling with no power. We're at gear 1. Yeah, it kind of sucks. Oh, that kind of sucks. That's actually harder to pedal than some of my bigger bikes. I don't know if it's just because my seat is too low or because of the special feature that this bike has that I will tell you in a little bit that I don't know why nobody talks about. Trigger shifter feels nice. I'm not used to that. It's an 8-speed trigger shifter. Pretty cool. Most bikes give you 7 speeds. This one gives you 8. And I'm used to the, I heard it called before, the Mickey Mouse shifter up top. Trigger shifters are a little bit sleeker, more low profile. All right, so we're just gonna start from this line. Normally I start over there, but this is much faster. It's pretty much the same thing. We're not timing it. We just want to see more or less what it looks like. Ooh, this is bad. Oh, can't do it. Oh my God. Wow, it couldn't do it at all. I'm surprised for a motor that was peaking at a good amount. So it says it's giving me 1,000 watts, but it doesn't feel like it. We'll have to investigate that. Maybe if we change modes. Eco, oh, that's giving me even less power. Oh no! Standard, same thing. So I was in sport mode. I was getting as much power as possible. And I did unlock this bike to give me top speed. So yeah, look, 1,300 watts, 1,200 watts. I'm not getting a whole lot out of this bike. I've reviewed other 48 volt e-bikes that definitely give you a little bit more power than this. Well, that's too bad. So not the best hill climber. Decent top speed. We're gonna test that in a little bit. We're gonna head over there right now. But let's do a brake test from about 20 miles an hour. Okay, brakes were good. We'll do that again. These are hydraulic disc brakes, 160 millimeter rotors. They haven't really been bedded in because this is my first time out on this bike. I am 200 pounds, 5'10". So slow down a little bit, 20 mile an hour brake test, here we go. So the back wheel locks up and the front feels good. So hydraulic brakes, guys, I think it's a must for any e-bike over 50, over 60 pounds. Even better if it had 180 millimeter rotors, because these bikes already by themselves are pretty fast. And on top of that, you put a bigger rider on it, 250 plus pounds. That's a lot of weight to stop. So far, the seat is comfortable. It's not the widest, cushiest seat ever, but I've also sat in worse seats. And I really do prefer regular bicycle seats over moped style seats for a couple of reasons. Number one, you can switch them out so easily. If you don't like the seat, there are probably hundreds of options out there that you can pick from to change seats. Whereas with a moped style bike, you can't. Alright, so yeah, it looks like the top speed is about 26 miles an hour. Oh, the display went wonky for a second. 26 miles an hour, top speed. So this motor, I guess, isn't the torquiest motor. It doesn't give you all that much power. That's too bad. What are you gonna do? If my audio sounds a little bit different, that's because I have my visor closed. When you're going 30 miles an hour, wind chill becomes a factor at 40 degrees and below. Normally, I only go out if it's at least 45, but today it's 40. And I want to try it out. I have some heated gloves from a company named Savior. They graciously sent these out to me. Said make a video on them. I said absolutely. I knew I would use them, and I'm using them now, my heated gloves, and I have heated socks on as well. So that's why we're venturing out in the cold. Normally I would never go out when it's this cold. So guys, let's talk about what exactly is so special about this particular e-bike. It has a geared hub motor in the back, which a lot of bikes do. That seems to be the most popular route. But it actually has regen.
So guys, it isn't apparent how you use the regen on this e-bike, but I did do a little bit of research and it looks like it does work in pedal assist 0 or 1, going faster than about 12 miles an hour. You will get some regen when you're just coasting around, not necessarily when you're using your brakes. You'll still use your brake pads, but if you are just coasting down a hill, it will give you a little bit of power back. That won't necessarily give you that much more battery life, but it will help you preserve your brake pads.
There are no other bikes that I know of, unless you custom build them, that have regen built in to a geared hub motor. A lot of direct drive motors have regen, but so you might get a tiny boost in range from riding this bike. And what else it'll do, it'll potentially save your brake pads, because if you're stopping using the motor and not your brake pads, that'll save a little bit of brake pad wear and tear. And so this bike does have 3 modes. It has Eco, which tops you out, I think, at like 500 watts. That's how you get the most range. You hold down the center button, it switches to normal mode, which it does give you some throttle. We're gonna find out in a second. It feels like it's a little bit slower than sport mode. Yeah, it's not giving me really, it's topping me out at 900 watts. We're gonna check that out on flat ground though and see what it is. So my battery is still reading at 100. This display doesn't show you voltage. It's a very common display. A lot of Engwe bikes use it. A lot of aerial rider bikes use it. My Kepler used to have it. But yeah, so right now normal mode is only giving me 900 watts. If I hold the button down, sport mode, now I get full power. Now I'm getting 1300, 1400 watts, although it doesn't feel like it. The last bike I reviewed, the Roll Road Shark Pro, was allegedly giving me just as much power than this, but it felt a lot faster, a lot peppier. So we're at our designated top speed testing site. This road is relatively flat. We're gonna go down and back, come to a complete stop, and here we go. $20. Can we hit 30? Can we do it? Sport mode, full throttle. It's showing me it's only giving me 800 watts. 27 miles an hour. 26. So hey guys, this is a slower bike, which isn't a bad thing. Not everyone is a speed demon. Like, I'm insane. I like going fast. I could probably go 50 miles an hour on a bike and be comfortable. But not a lot of people are like that. So if you're gonna be using this and just chilling, going slow, relaxing on a paved trail with pedestrians, you don't need that much power. You really don't. And we're not even gonna do that top speed run on the way back because we already know pretty much what this bike can do. So here's what we're gonna do now. Oh, I know what we're gonna do. See that stop sign? We're gonna come to a complete stop. And we're gonna put our feet down and look both ways, and look both ways again, and then creep out. Oh, I just want to make sure. Okay, I think we're good. I got you, commenters, I got you. We're gonna stop at all the stop signs completely, and we'll stay there until it's annoying for you. But what we're gonna do is cycle through all the modes for pedal assist, for eco, for sport, for normal, and see how much power it gives us. So let's start off in eco. So you hold down the power button, bring it down to level 1. 0 gives you nothing for anything. It gives you no pedal assist, no throttle. So let's try level 1. Level 1, we're getting 85 watts. Level 2 eco, burst it up for a second. Now we're getting 300 watts, 250. Level 3 eco, this is throttle. Oh, level 2 eco. Level 3 eco gives you 600 watts. So for throttle, level 2 eco will give you about 200 watts, 250. Level 3 throttle eco gives you about 600. Level 4, 600 still. Level 5, 600. So it tops out at about 600 for eco. What about pedal assist? We're just gonna ghost pedal to see if it gives us as much power. Yeah, so 4 and 5 are the same. Tops out at 600 watts. So this is good, again, if you want to just be relaxed on a pedestrian area, not flying by people. This is great. This bike also does come with a horn. Sounds kind of weird. It's more like a beep, but it's something. Doesn't have a bell. And let's test the suspension now. Let's jump this curb. Feels good. It's not the greatest suspension. It's nothing fancy, but it's there. Not a lot of folding e-bikes have suspension, front and rear. Yeah, like this feels nice actually. I feel it working. I was out here the other day on a moped style bike that had no suspension, and it was way harder than this. Way harder. This feels incredible. So even having something makes a big difference. This is actually incredible how nice this feels compared to not having any shocks. I do feel them working. Again, it's not going to be like a premium suspension. Like getting off that curb was very nice. Felt fantastic. All right, so now let's go ahead and check out normal mode. Normal mode 1, no throttle. Normal mode 2. Normal mode 2, we're getting 170 watts, going about 10 miles an hour. Normal mode 3 throttle, about 12 miles an hour. 300 watts. Normal mode 4, 15 miles an hour, 900 watts. And then 5, going faster, so we'll say about 20 miles an hour. And I'm ghost pedaling right now, and it looks like the pedal assist amount is the same as the throttle. So it's pretty much the same amount. I'm using my legs, I'm ghost pedaling right now. I'm using the cadence sensor as a throttle, and it seems like it's giving me the same amount. So now we're gonna go into sport mode, because that's where you get all the power. That's probably where you guys are gonna be. This bike has a battery percentage bar, and these are always not the most accurate things ever, but we're clocking in at 5.79 miles. This has me at 6 miles. So yeah, the speedometer, that does make sense because the speedometer is off by a little bit. It thinks it's going faster than I actually am, and therefore it thinks I went further. So we'll just continue the range test and see where things are. Level 1 in sport mode gives you no throttle. But it does give you a little bit of pedal assist, 50 watts. So mode 1 is good if you want to get exercise. Level 2 pedal assist sport mode gives me 250 watts. Throttle about the same, 200 watts, somewhere in there. Level 3, 500 watts, about 13 miles an hour. Same thing for pedal assist. Level 4 sport mode. Okay, now we're bumping it up. 1300 watts, 1400 watts. And then 5 gives you even more. So this isn't going to be a fast bike, but it is comfortable. If you get a big Cloud 9 seat, which is my favorite seat ever, I think they're great. I'll leave a link in the description below. If you get that seat plus the rear suspension, it's going to be great. Very comfortable ride. This bike is foldable, very maneuverable, easy to throw around. It's lightweight, or at least it's lighter than a lot of other bikes. And so not everything is about speed and power. Some of you might think that, and I sometimes think that myself. I fall into that trap. However, when it comes to hill climbing, it is about speed and power. And this bike will not give you all that much help, especially on a steep hill from a standstill. That's a tall order for a bike. And this won't give you that much help. So just keep that in mind. If you live in an area that's very hilly, this might not be the bike for you. But if it just has some moderate hills here and there, like we're riding around today, you'll probably be fine. The throttle response is very smooth. It's not jarring, it doesn't throw you off the seat. Suspension, I can definitely feel working through all these bumps in the road. And I appreciate that so much. When you go from a non-suspension bike to actually having it, you realize how much of a big deal it is. Even if it's not fancy suspension, you still definitely feel a difference. I hear the metal fenders rattling just a little bit. It's almost like a vibration from the motor. And that's what you get with metal fenders. They do vibrate, they do rattle a bit. What are you gonna do? They look better though than plastic fenders, but you take the good with the bad. So battery percentage wise, we're at 84%, at least it's telling me we're at 84. I have 6.9 miles on my screen, and this says 7 miles. So it's not too far off. Let's take a look at the settings and see if we can adjust the wheel size. So to get into the settings, you hold down the plus and minus buttons. There you go. Let's see, setup, set unit. So I switched that to mile an hour, okay. Brightness, auto power off, speed limit. We just bring that all the way up as high as possible. The highest it goes is 31. So personalization, cruise control, I like it off, and that's what I did. I turned the cruise control off. ACF, that's the, I believe that's the regen. Let's turn that off and see if it feels any better. Power set. So this tells you how much power you can put into each pedal assist level. I think that's fantastic, and that way you can adjust the speed exactly to what you want. This is a very good setting. System info. Nothing. Yeah, I don't think you can adjust the wheel size unless I missed something. I don't want to go clear data. No. So you can't adjust the wheel size. What are you going to do? So if I were living in a city and I wanted something comfortable but lighter weight, it had dual suspension, easy to maneuver, foldable, I would probably get this. This is a great little bike. Especially if you're going to be in areas that are flat, don't require a lot of hill climbing power. I think this bike is good. And we are kind of doing a range test right now, but we're staying in sport mode the whole time, for the most part. So this might not be how you ride personally. Maybe you like to go a little bit slower. Or maybe you just like to use only throttle and zero pedaling, but I like to think this is a real world range test. Not doing anything too crazy. Pedaling, let's see what that feels like at top speed. So I get good still pedal resistance at like 26 miles an hour. My feet are moving for sure, but I'm working, I'm pushing down. I'm adding power for sure. So that's good. You don't ghost pedal out after 20 miles an hour. Complete stop. Yeah, and I kept my feet up too. Great. Shifting feels nice, very smooth. Paddle shifter and thumb throttle. Different than a lot of other e-bikes, but if that's what you like, knock yourself out. What a nice neighborhood. I'm gonna be filming in this neighborhood more just because there's less traffic. And it's just a nicer looking neighborhood. Better for making videos. Less traffic means your boy doesn't get hit by a car. So here's a hill. Throttle only. Hear that fender vibrating in the back. This is pretty steep, decently steep. But we're struggle busting it. If I pedal, it's okay. But just keep that in mind, guys. Not the most powerful bike. If you want to give your maybe a spouse, significant other, something, and they're not interested in going crazy fast, like my girlfriend, for example, she probably won't want to go faster than 20 miles an hour on anything. Or you have a son or a daughter and you want to give them something that's not crazy fast as well, this might be a pretty good option. Something that they're not gonna fly into a wall with going 40 miles an hour. Yeah, on flat ground, I'm just using throttle only. That felt great. But see, as soon as we hit this hill, we're definitely struggling. Forget about going up this with eco mode. You definitely gotta pedal. So right now I have these heated gloves on, heated socks on, a bunch of layers, and this is nice. As long as the sun is out, I could deal with this temperature. I could ride, no problem. Last winter when we had no snow, I just rode my my e-bike everywhere. I was like, okay, I can't ski, all right, I guess I'll just ride my bike. And that was when, I think it was before I really started my channel. Maybe I had just started it. So I wasn't really doing a lot of filming, a lot of reviewing. The handlebar is in a somewhat of a taller position, which is good. It gives you a more upright riding position. Feels comfortable in my opinion. It's kind of what I prefer, it's what I like. It smells good over here. It smells like someone's got a fire pit going. Love that smell. I think it's like instinctual. It just smells great. As long as you smell it outside. If you smell it in your house, that's not good. But if you smell it outside, it smells great. Like a shark that smells blood. Like, oh, someone's having a good time over there. What is going on here? Alright, I'm gonna pass you as you're taking your time. Handling feels nice. This bike feels stable and sturdy. No issues in that end. Here we go. Oh, bump. That would have felt so much worse with no suspension. Small hill. This bike demands you pedal. So I'll give you guys a quick battery readout. We're at, on the screen says 74%. And my mileage on my GPS says we went just about 10 miles. On the display, it says we've gone 10 miles as well. All right, interesting. Yeah, so it looks like at about 25, then you ghost pedal. So pedaling is good for up to 25 miles an hour. If you really wanted to, you can easily switch out the front chainring. That will give you a lot more pedal resistance at higher speed. I don't know what size this one is. It's not small, but it's not huge. The brakes feel Those brakes sound a little bit loud. I'm never worried about loud brakes. Usually that's just a break-in kind of thing. The brakes have to be bedded. Or you could just swap out the brake pads, which you're gonna do anyways. Let's see how the cruise control works. So we're gonna turn that back on. Plus and minus buttons, personalization, cruise control on. Let's see how that works. All right, so you just hold down the throttle and it gives you cruise control. And I think it keeps accelerating. Like right now in sport mode, I want to say it just, I gotta hold it down for a certain amount. It'll try and give you full throttle, like full blast. Let's try and go over this curb. Oh, the suspension makes it so nice. Like I barely feel this at all. The front shocks are a little bit clunky, but what are you gonna do? This is a budget-oriented bike. A little bit on the clunky side for the front shocks, but I'm not really complaining. The back feels nice. I'd rather have these budget-oriented rear shocks than nothing at all. Like, this feels nice. Way better than if I had no rear suspension. Way better, guys. Yeah, so we'll hold down the throttle. And now cruise control is on. But I like this because it's just giving me full power. It knows, okay, you just want to go full power, let's go for it. I think it's trying to accelerate, I don't know. But that's how cruise control works. You hold the thing down for 8 seconds. Alright guys, so I'll give you a quick readout of where we are mileage wise and battery wise. So my mileage says 12.3 and this says 12 miles, so decently accurate, not too far off. Speedometer, again, about 1 mile to 2 miles an hour off. Can't change that. What are you gonna do? But we're gonna head on back. We're at 60%. And this thing is not giving me as much power as 100%, as do all e-bikes, right? As the battery drains, you get less available voltage, and that will decrease your available watts, right? Your watts goes down because watts is volts times amps. So we'll pedal a bit on the way back. See, a road like this, where there's faster moving cars, like 40 miles an hour, and there's barely any shoulder, like right here, there's no shoulder. Not the safest thing to do. I do have a mirror, so that is nice. But what we're gonna do is go on the sidewalk and try and find an area that's not as busy. There's a turn coming up that brings us to a less busy part of the road. Gotta duck down. These branches hit my head. Good thing I have a big helmet on. Yep, there it is. When you are riding on the roads, I would 1000% recommend getting at least a mirror. This right here, this is a really cheap mirror. In fact, it's the kind of mirror that doesn't even go into the handlebar, it just clamps on the very end. The reason why I got this one is because I wanted something that's removable for these reviews. And it's okay, it's holding, it'll hold enough. I didn't want to drill any holes or remove this in case I sell this bike. But it's removable and it's a pretty good looking mirror, and this thing was just like a couple dollars, but it is super helpful in seeing who's behind you. Even better if you do get a Garmin Vario radar. So you'll see on your phone, you can link it up to the radar, you will see on your phone if someone's behind you, it'll give you an alert. And that way it'll tell you, hey, there's someone behind you, and then you'll look in your mirror, because otherwise you're either always looking in your mirror or you are never looking in your mirror, in which case both are bad. But the Varia plus the mirror, best case scenario, like peanut butter and jelly. Sidewalk riding does feel good with these rear shocks. Yeah, I don't know, I don't like cruise control. I just don't like it. I'm gonna turn it off. I'm not a cruise control guy. I am happy that you can't turn it off. And it is good that they give you that option to have it, but not my cup of tea. That's fine, I'll just wait here all day. Whatever. Traffic. That's what I get for going and do reviews in busy areas. Yeah, we got this hill coming up and my battery's at 50%. When you pedal, it's not bad. But if you're thinking about just using this bike for throttle only, I would get something else. Not the bike to get. So it's interesting, the speedometer is off by 1 or 2 miles an hour, but the distance gauge is fairly accurate. Just hit about 14 miles. I got 14.2. The display just says 14. And again, guys, I've been staying in sport mode pretty much the whole time. I'm doing a little bit of pedaling, but I'm really demanding everything that the motor has because it doesn't have much. So, closing thoughts on the Engwe Engine Pro. Why I would get this bike. Number one, it looks cool. I think it's a cool looking bike. I've always liked Engwe's styling. They make kind of very modern looking, sleek designs. In my opinion, I think Engwe bikes look great. Number one. Number two, this is foldable, and it is a smaller 20 by 4 inch size format bike. So it's foldable and it's actually small. It's lightweight. Even for a full suspension bike, it's pretty easy to pick up. It does have the handle near the seat post, which is very handy, very convenient. The rear suspension helps a lot for bumps, shock absorption. It helps a lot more than if I didn't have the shock. And even though it's not a high-end shock, it is way better than having nothing at all. The front shocks are a little bit clunky, but same thing, this is a budget bike. What do you expect? Pretty much standard for all bikes. Regen, I don't know if it makes that much of a difference. I still don't really know how much it works. 8 speeds are nice. Nice large front chain ring in the front, that is nice. So you get pedal resistance up to 25 miles an hour. But if you're looking for something with a lot of power, this isn't the bike to get. So just keep that in mind. And final mileage readout for today. I have 14.9 miles. This thing just crossed into 15. So 15 miles exactly. We just crossed into just now 49% battery. So my guess is this bike will give you probably 25 miles of range the way I was riding it. More if you use more pedaling. That's it for today, guys. Until next time.